Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Abigail, and if you're new here, most of my videos here are Disney vlog related, a little bit of travel, but as of recent, I've been kind of wanting to share a couple more things in regards to motherhood and traveling with littles. For me, it's little, it's singular right now. We only have one son at the moment, and I just kind of want to share some things that I've learned along the way in this journey of motherhood and wanted to share it. Hopefully you're asking a couple of the same questions that I've asked myself, so I wanted to share this with you all as it pertains to travel, specifically with a stroller. So in this particular video, I want to talk about the strollers that you could take for Disney World. And so I think you're kind of going into two different categories. You're going to go into this like normal everyday stroller, or you have the option of a travel or like lightweight stroller. So in 2022 for us, we were able to go on 2 trips to Disney World in the beginning of May and then at the end of December. And specifically around the December trip, we were kind of asking ourselves, and I say we as my husband and I, we were asking about what specific strollers should we take. We have the UPPAbaby Vista as kind of like our everyday stroller, and we also were gifted by really amazing friends here at our church. They gifted us the GB Pocket Lite, or GB Pocket Air, I believe is what it's called. So that one is a super compact travel specific stroller. And so in May we went with our UPPAbaby Vista, and in December we went with our GB Pocket Lite. And so both 2 completely different types of strollers and 2 experiences, and I'm going to share pros and cons to both of them. So spoiler alert, I'm not going to tell you which stroller to take. I think this really depends on what needs you have for your specific family, but I'm hoping we can talk through these pros and cons, and this can kind of get you into a place where you're like, okay, I know where I need to go from here, or I know what's going to be best for my family. So I think even at the end of this video, I kind of think like, man, there's definitely times where I wanted our UPPAbaby Vista at Disney, and then there's times where I wanted the GB Pocket Lite with us. So each have pros and cons. I'm about to go into them in just a little bit, but yeah, I wanted to share that. Okay, when picking out your stroller, there's a couple of factors that I think you need to think of before you kind of go into the pros and cons of each stroller. The first thing, and I think is the most important thing to think of, is transportation. Disney has a lot of different methods of transportation, and some of them you have to fold down your stroller for, and some of them you don't have to, which is great. But the Disney transportation available you have are monorail, you have the ferry, you have buses, you have the Skyliner, you have resort boats, you have the tram, and a rental car if you choose to rent one if you're staying off property, or even Ubers, or things to consider when it comes to that. So be mindful of trunk space or how you're going to be able to consolidate that stroller for that in particular. So folding down your stroller, you have to fold down your stroller for any sort of Disney bus. You have to fold your stroller for resort boats, and you have to fold your stroller for trams. So if you are in the Disney parking lot and going to the TTC, you do have to fold your stroller for that particular use of transportation. You do not have to fold your stroller for monorail, ferry boat, Skyliner, and I think that's it. Oh, and you have to fold for your, well, I guess it's up to you if you can fit it unfolded, but you have to fold your stroller for the rental car. You should. So think of that when it comes to, and that kind of maybe even goes into consideration how compact your stroller can be. Can it fit in your trunk? Does it fit in the tram? The trams, I will say in particular, are very narrow and very tight. So if you do have a really bulky stroller, you are going to have to fit it in a very narrow, think of like a park bench type size, or it's going to go on your laps. We saw some parents have to put strollers on laps. You can't hang it outside of the tram, so just be mindful of that. If you are parking and self-parking, I think the tram is probably the most difficult when it comes to folding a stroller. But yeah, transportation, think of all the methods of transportation that you need to use during your Disney trip and kind of maybe consider from there. The second thing is storage. Now, we all know kids require a lot of stuff, or they just come with a lot of stuff. You're thinking of diaper bags, you have snack packs, you have water bottles and containers and cameras and all the things that you need for your Disney trip to make it a good one. Also think about merch. Are you also gonna buy merch? Where's that merchandise gonna go? So you have to think about storage. If you come with a lot of storage or come with a lot of things, are you able to carry it, or can your stroller take it? Can it take the weight? Will it fit underneath? Is that something that's really important for you? Are you able to kind of use it along the sides, like using the handlebars? Is there any sort of accessories that you can use for strollers that you can add there? I'll link below a couple of items that we have used specifically for our GB Pocket, and then also our Uppa Baby Vista, that have been really helpful for us when it comes to storage. But again, when you're thinking about storage, you also have to think about, you have to take off that storage if you have to fold down your stroller for transportation. So if it's like, hey, I put everything in there and I do not want to fold this, maybe something to consider, especially when you're purchasing merchandise or have all of these diaper bags or backpacks or what have you. So think of that, because you only have 2 hands and your partner has only 2 hands, and you also have a child or maybe more than one to carry. So think about storage as well when you're going through that. And then the last thing is going to be another factor I think to consider when it comes to your stroller that you pick out is naps. I was really nervous about this one, especially in December. In May of our trip, we specifically picked a monorail resort that we could easily get to and from Magic Kingdom, and we were able to do naps in the resort for us. Our son was taking 2 in May, and in December he was down to 1. And so when it came to that, in May he did not do well. Like, stroller naps were non-existent. We had a lot of fussiness, and we ended up kind of doing contact naps, and we really struggled with that. In December, we kind of went in like praying and hoping and crossing our fingers that our son would nap in the stroller. And he did. And I'm so thankful that he did. But think about your nap times for if you're choosing to do kind of an all day, or if you're going to do a nap, a stroller nap, and aim to do that. There are a couple of things that are something to probably consider. Can your stroller recline as your baby sleep? Is that really important for you? Canopy wise, can you cover them? Is it a fully covered type of canopy? Can you kind of set them up for success for nap time as best as possible? Obviously, you have to be flexible around nap time, especially at Disney. There's loud noises. Sometimes there's hard places to find like a good quiet place. But I think those are also some things to consider. And that probably was really the most nerve-wracking thing for me, because I had no idea how Lucas would do. So anyways, I think those 3 things are really important to consider when picking out your stroller. Okay, so now that we kind of have gone into those 3 factors to consider when picking out your stroller, I want to go in and share some pros and cons to having your everyday stroller, I'll call it, which might be your kind of like travel system or bulkier stroller, versus the like umbrella or travel, I guess, well, lightweight maybe could be a better term, specific stroller. So first I'll go with kind of like your everyday stroller. And so for us, it's the Uppa Baby Vista. I'm not saying you need the Uppa Baby Vista. I'm just kind of trying to find like maybe similar. If you have like the Nuna or the Graco, like I'm just thinking bulky. I hope I'm making sense, but everyday stroller, that's what I'm trying to get on here. So pros behind the Uppa Baby Vista. The first thing is it can recline for naps. If naps is a really big factor when it comes to spending all day in the parks, and you're gonna kind of push through nap time and kind of create that space as best as possible for a nap. If you have a great napper that can nap anywhere, maybe that's something to consider. Our UPPA Vista does recline, which is fantastic for those stroller naps, and it's almost like an almost complete 180 recline, which we really love. Another thing for naps in that same category is the canopy. The canopy folds extremely well over our son, and this is great for not only just nap time, but also when it's really hot. It can get really hot and sunny in Florida. It can get rainy in Florida, and so those are all things to consider when it comes to naps, which we love our UPPA Vista for that. The third thing about our UPPA Vista, our everyday stroller, is it has tons and tons of storage. Underneath, I could put the diaper bag. I could probably put a spirit jersey full of merch and mini ears and all of the things. It even has a cup holder underneath. We even have like a handlebar storage that we use as well. So storage is fantastic for that, because it's a bigger stroller. And then the fourth thing is it's super smooth on rougher terrain. So I think of like Animal Kingdom. Obviously a lot of it is, you have asphalt throughout most of the parks, but Animal Kingdom does kind of have like those bumpy areas in Africa and Asia that it's not necessarily as smooth. And whenever you're in any sort of like bumpy terrain, you don't really feel it on the UPPA Vista. Cons though is, for our everyday stroller, is it is bulky. It's bigger, so it's going to be a little bit bulkier for transportation to fold that stroller. I'm including a couple clips of me kind of opening the stroller and reclining it to kind of give you an idea. And so when it came to folding, I know when it came to buses for us in May, my husband, I would carry my son and my husband would fold the stroller, and he was always so nervous every single time, because it was like, man, it's just this big bulky thing, and it has, for the UPPA, it has no handlebar for you to grab from, so, or you to carry. So this might be different for maybe like, I think Bob's are a really good stroller for every day, but for us, it's really bulky and it's just a lot of space. It's really wide. Another con for our everyday stroller is it's heavier. I think the UPPA, man, I think it's like 15 pounds. I'll put the correct weight right here for the UPPA if it's not 15 pounds, but it's definitely bulkier. For me, I am 5 foot, and so I'm definitely shorter. And when it comes to picking up the UPPA, it's like, it's just really big. And it just folds a little bit funkier. So maybe something to consider. And then the third con I would say for your UPPA type everyday stroller is the fact that just navigating through crowds it's gonna be wider and it's gonna be harder. I mean, there's strollers everywhere. So it's not a super big con, but it's something to consider when you're like in a merchandise store and really squeezing into specific areas. I think the roadways or like the pathways throughout the parks are totally fine, but if you're in a merchandise store, it can feel a little bit cramped really quickly for you if you have like a bigger stroller. Okay, so I would say those are the kind of the pros and cons for your everyday stroller. Now for the lighter, umbrella, light specific strollers, I think it's almost kind of like what is a pro for your everyday stroller is like a con, and it's almost kind of like vice versa. So it's almost opposite. So we'll go through these things specifically for the lighter strollers. So for our GB Pocket Light, it is super compact for travel. For our GB Pocket stroller in particular, so this is very specific to this stroller, is it can go on your overhead compartment for plane travel. We love that in particular for any sort of flight. So this stroller actually for us, aside from Disney World, we also went to an all-inclusive in Mexico for in August of last year, and it was amazing. When you have to go through customs or any sort of international travel, you have customs. We were able just to like pop our son right into the stroller. Like we didn't have to gate check it. Like it's fantastic when it comes to that. So super compact. It folds really tight. We love it in that particular sense. You can hang the storage that you have if you're able to kind of compact things to a diaper bag or a backpack. I will include a clip. My son is with grandma right now and he has the diaper bag, but for our specific diaper bag that we have these like handlebar type straps that we put on our GB pocket for December in particular, and it was just really helpful to just kind of like hang it on that. But that was our primary storage, so whatever we needed, it fit in the diaper bag, and that's what we used. The compactness of your umbrella stroller is the fact that you can navigate really quickly through crowds. You're gonna be able to just like zoom on through, and your son or your daughter is gonna be safe right there. And it's really easy just to kind of go through those merchandise stores really quickly. And it's also nice, even when I think about like the end of the day with fireworks, you don't have this like big bulky stroller too, taking up all of this space. Or maybe you do want a bulky stroller so you have a bit more space for fireworks. I don't know. And then last but not least, a pro is the fact that it is super lightweight. I can pick up our GB pocket stroller with one hand, where the Uppa Baby for me, it takes both. I have to use all my might and I'm not carrying anything else. Our GB pocket, I can carry my son and I can carry our umbrella stroller in the other hand just fine. And so that's a really great plus, especially when you're traveling. Okay, so for cons on your umbrella lightweight travel stroller is the fact that for us, and this is kind of stroller specific, is that it does not recline for naps. Because I went into December really nervous, I wasn't sure how Lucas would do. He did do just fine, sleeping kind of at a small incline, but I did go in a little bit nervous. So if it's really important for you to make sure that your baby can recline on naps or rest in any way, shape, or form, that is a con that we had for our specific ones. There are some that do recline, so I know of one that I'll link below as well to kind of share one that is kind of the best of both worlds in reclining and also lightweight. And then this is also another specific one for us as well. The GB Pocket Air does not have any sort of canopy. It has like a really small kind of like flap, but it did absolutely nothing. My son still very much got sun in his eyes and it just did not cover him well. So we were more so having to find like places behind buildings that were shaded for nap time, or if it was really warm and we needed a sit down break. So that was kind of a con for that specific stroller as well. And then the third con I would say is it's a little bit bumpier on terrain. You feel it. And where the Uppa Baby for us is just super smooth, our GB Pocket, you kind of feel it in the handlebars, like you're kind of like as you go through. So if you're dealing with some bumps, or it can kind of even get caught in some places, I think of like Main Street, that wheel can go like right into where like the trolley goes. And so some things to consider as well. So that's kind of like the consensus or our list of that I was able to kind of comb through or think through when it came to traveling to Disney World. I enjoyed our Uppa Baby one, and I also enjoyed our GB Pocket. Our next trip, I really don't know which one we would take. But I hope this is helpful though for you in regards to picking one. If you guys have any specific strollers that you love, I would love for you to share in the comments below. I'm sure some other parents, moms, dads would love to kind of learn about their own pros and cons. Also, if you have anything to share in regards to pros and cons that you experienced that maybe we didn't chat about here today. So I'd love to kind of dialogue with you guys, learn from you as well. But yeah, that's kind of the list that I go through. Hopefully, again, I hope this kind of helps to kind of figure out what's important for your family and make a decision from what's best from there. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.